How do you support an organization that has been so important to your family? You know, there are times when people are raising money for the Rose and we don't even know the background or the story or the whys. Destiny Fernandisse is a person who decided to make a difference in other people's lives after the Rose helped her family. This former Miss League City, who went on to compete in the Miss USA competition and who is today still doing competitions and has a whole lot to say about what that does for a woman's self-esteem and why it's important. She's going to share things that I had never heard before, but she's also raising money in some very unique ways to help the women of the Rose. Join us as we hear her story.
When you subscribe to our show, you help us grow. Someone you know may need to hear this story, so please share with your family and friends. And consider supporting our mission. Your donation can help save the life of an uninsured woman. Let's talk about your breast. A different kind of podcast presented to you by The Rose, a breast center of excellence and a Texas treasure. You're going to hear frank discussions about tough topics, and you're going to learn why knowing about your breast could save your life. Destiny, tell me a little bit more about your mother's experience with breast cancer and your personal family experience that you've had.
Yeah, my grandmother was the first to get breast cancer in our family. And she actually had it 4 times. On the 4th time, it came back as bone and breast cancer, as well as brain. So it was a really quick decline. It was terrible. My mom also had it when I was a senior in high school. And then the year after her mother passed, she got it again, so for the 2nd time. During that time, she was uninsured, and it was a really difficult time in her life. She just lost her mother. She'd gone through a divorce. Everything seemed to be falling apart in her life. And I was doing my best to support her, but it was no doubt challenging. And while we worked with the same gynecologist for years, she just retired. She recommended the Rose because my mom was uninsured. So that's how we came to find out about this organization, and that's how she learned she had breast cancer for the 2nd time. So you guys saved her life. Thank you so much. All of the fundraising that you do allowed her to get the treatment that she needed and get that support. So that's one of the biggest reasons I support the Rose. You know, my mom has since gotten back to a place in her life where she's comfortable and happy, and she has been breast cancer free for 7 years. We'll knock on wood.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah. So since then, we've tried in any way to participate and just spread the word on the Rose.
So the first time that we heard about you was when you were doing a Kendra Scott
Gives
event.
Back?
Yeah, you were doing one of those, and I think it was our PR firm said, "Do you know this woman? She's doing this event for you." And we didn't.
Okay.
And it was so wonderful to just, sometimes that happens where we may not know that folks are doing an event, but that was really, really neat. And now you're doing another kind of event.
Yes.
So tell us about that.
So I'm a CMO at Sovereign Wealth Advisors, and we're going to put on a casino night for you guys, really. We thought, how can we give back to the community? And I suggested the Rose. And it's Breast Cancer Awareness Month, so we thought it would be a really good mix of, kind of just spreading the word and getting that out.
And is this primarily for your clients or staff? Yeah.
It'll be primarily for our clients. We are open to having Rose supporters attend as well. It is no entry fee for our clients or for others. We're covering those costs, and then all of the proceeds from the actual casino event will go to the Rose.
And when is this scheduled?
This is October 18th.
You didn't have any trouble convincing people to support this at your work?
No, it was a really quick yes. I think once we talked about what the Rose is and my personal connection to it, everyone was on board, especially my CEO. He's very adamant about supporting locally. He wants to support Houston locally because that's where we are. That's where our clients are. So we like to give back where we are.
And that is what the Rose is really known for, is for being a part in the community, serving the community, a part of the community. And it's also the community that helps us to keep going every year. I mean, we're still very grassroots, and, we're not corporate and we're not a national organization or anything like that. So it's totally depend on these kind of fundraisers to be able to serve people just like your mother.
Yeah.
Now I want you to tell us a little bit about Destiny, because you have a fascinating background.
I think it's from having ADHD. I just kind of bounce around, picking new things all the time to join into.
Well, this is the first time we've ever had a Miss League City, the first Miss League City ever, and a semifinalist at the
Miss Texas.
Miss Texas. I mean, this is our first, so I want you to tell us something about that. How you got into it, why?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pageantry was something I always thought looked amazing, right? From the outside looking in. You see the girls with big smiles and crowns and happy lives, and I thought, I want that for myself. How can I do it? So I actually worked full-time while I was in school, and I didn't really have the means to participate in what I call an expensive hobby. Or an expensive sport, because there's a lot of running in heels behind the stage. But there is.
Wow.
Once I was able to, I first competed as Miss Clear Lake. I did not place. I competed in the Miss Houston pageant. I did place there. I won Miss Photogenic. And then I reached out to the Miss Kima pageant. So this is, now you're getting the really behind the scenes story. And I said, hey, this is my maybe last year to compete. I really want to represent a title close to home. League City is my hometown. Are you hosting another pageant this year? And that director was Kelly Williams, who is also a breast cancer survivor. And she said, yeah, actually, we're not, but the Miss League City pageant is going to start this year, and we need a title holder for the 60th year celebration of the city. Would you be that title holder?
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, it was serendipity. I had jokingly called myself Miss League City for the past 2 years, even though there was no official title. And I think I manifested creating that title and that reality. You got to speak it into existence, right?
Absolutely. We believe that.
Yeah. Kelly said it was God's plan, divine intervention. Here, she was looking for a title holder, and she gets an actual message saying, I want to represent my hometown. This is the closest thing to it. And she said, actually, you can represent your hometown. So through that process, I actually got a proclamation with the mayor, and I dedicated the day to helping women with breast cancer.
Yes, I saw that.
Yeah.
I was watching that. Yeah.
Oh, you watched the proclamation?
It was so neat.
Did you see at the end they sang happy birthday to me? It was my birthday that day.
Oh, it was?
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah. Being Miss League City was a huge honor. It was very exciting, representing my hometown, and getting to semifinals at Texas was probably a once-in-a-lifetime experience, because the girl that ended up winning went on to win Miss USA and then Miss Universe. And so I followed her. I went to all the crownings. I saw her at USA. I saw her at Universe. And so, my first time as a semi-finalist, I competed with Miss Universe. What an honor. What a cool thing.
What an honor. Yes. Yeah. My goodness. Now, you were describing this as a finishing school or a...
Yeah.
Yeah, tell us more about that.
I tell women, young women especially, do a pageant, even if you are terrified of it, even if you don't think you're the best person to win, just do one. It's a modern day finishing school for women. You learn etiquette. You learn how to be articulate. You go through interview prep. You learn how to sit up straight without your back hurting. There are just so many little things that are applicable to, I would say, the corporate world especially, but anywhere you go, to be able to hold your head up high and keep your shoulders back.
But you also talked about how people often think this is just about the beauty or just about...
It's absolutely not. Yeah, the prettiest girl is not the winner. It's never that way. Sometimes it is, but there are so many beautiful women, especially in Texas. And Texas is what we call a sash state. The Philippines would be a sash country. They're a really strong competitor at Miss Universe. Texas is a really strong competitor at Miss USA. We hold the most state titles for the country. So Texas is always tough, even at the local levels. If you're a top 15 at Miss Texas, you could probably place at Miss USA. That's sort of what they say internally, right?
Oh, my goodness.
Of course, maybe there's some bias there because we are Texan, but it's not about being the prettiest. It's about being the best well-rounded person. So coming into a room and being able to connect with others, being able to inspire young women to pursue bigger things in life, being articulate, being able to really just convey who you are, what you stand for, and hopefully inspire others to do the same.
So you've kind of taken that on as part of your mentoring process too, right?
I think so, yeah.
I think that would be so important because it really does have a stigma. And, it's, pageants, but that's interesting. That's a whole different way of looking at it.
TV really portrays it as the mean girls kind of cutting dresses backstage or hiding shoes, but it couldn't be further from the truth. Really, backstage, we're primping one another, we're fixing things, we're sewing things, we're bringing Band-Aids out. Who's got butt glue? That's a very common thing you'll hear yelled out.
What is that?
We glue everything to us. Nothing is, our dresses are sometimes glued on, our sashes are glued onto our shoulders, our swimsuits are glued onto our body because as you walk, you may notice on the beach things ride up. Well, you don't want that when you're 5 feet above an audience, anything to be riding up or moving around. So,
Oh, how interesting.
There's probably 4 sticks of butt glue that girls remember to bring for 100 girls. So there's a lot of, like I said, running and yelling backstage.
Oh, my goodness. It sounds like fun.
It is fun.
Yeah.
It's a big sleepover.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's also a lot of work.
A tremendous amount of work. I have, 6 or 7 videos from this last year's pageant of girls sleeping on the floor in different moments. I'm in the beauty room getting your hair done. In the back, in between rehearsals. I mean, it is an exercise both mentally and physically. That weekend is killer. USA is a quick pageant and everything is very timed out. So you sleep when you can.
Ooh.
It's fun though.
Yeah.
This year I'm hoping to help chaperone. I volunteered already, so hopefully they...
Oh, how neat.
Yeah, I love it. I really think, like I said, it's modern day finishing school for women. And you really see progress in a short amount of time. People will start having higher and higher goals because they realize not only are they achievable, but that they're capable and they can reach further.
So it's all about that self-esteem in many different ways. So now you are Miss Kima?
I'm currently Miss Kima USA. Yeah, this was my last year to compete, and I was a semifinalist. I think it was the hardest year I've ever competed, and maybe it's because I took a year off. I don't know. Or it could be because I'm getting too old to participate. I know you're saying that, but they used to have an age restriction, and I would have been too old to compete this year. Because they removed it, I said, okay, I'll come back one more time.
Oh, that is interesting. I didn't realize that either. We could just talk all day about pageants.
I could, yeah. We have to start a new podcast.
We will. Let's go back to why you support the Rose, how important you think it is, and we call these events third-party events because they are events that we don't have anything to do with. Our host, like you, does all of the work, gets everyone involved, raises the money, and brings it to us. So it is kind of our favorite part of fundraising.
We get to meet. Right?
It's easy. We meet new people. And, you are sharing the story of the Rose with people we'll never meet or really don't have any access to talking to. So tell us a little bit more about how did you even get this idea about supporting us? I mean, where did it come from?
To be honest with you, my October is a special time in my life, not just because it's Breast Cancer Awareness Month, but it's also my grandmother's birthday and when we lost her. So I always try to think of different ways to honor her in that month. And she was passionate about breast cancer awareness. She liked to do 5Ks. She liked to do any kind of volunteering that she could get in her hands on or just something that would help the women that were currently going through it. And so a few years back when I pursued a strategic digital marketing certification at Rice, we had a task to create a Facebook group for a false business. And I said, well, that's silly. If I'm going to do all this work, I might as well do it for a reason. And at the time, this was 2020, so there was, everything shut down. So I'm trying to think of ways to virtually support women that are currently going through breast cancer treatment. And I thought of comfort kits. So ways that people could volunteer would be to either donate monetarily, and then for those that couldn't, I said, can you write a letter to someone that they can read? And so we got so many amazing letters, so many awesome little things. I think I sent you guys a picture of one of the boxes. And my mom actually took all of those to the Rose. So she brought them all in there for your staff to hand out. And so the Rose is always on our mind. We always want to help in some way, in part because I think, oh, you guys saved my mom. She's very important to me. I look like her mini me. And so I see my grandmother in her, I see myself in her, and I want to support her. So she represents all the other women that have daughters in their lives and mothers in their lives that have experienced the same thing. So when we thought about doing some kind of event, I was thinking Rose first. How can we support the Rose? What can we do? What will be fun? How can we get our clients involved? How can I get my staff on board? And the casino night came to mind. And to be honest, we're doing it at a venue that I also work with another group in Houston called the Houston Angels.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now tell us about that group.
Yeah, I love the Houston Angels. Recently, their regional chapter here dissolved. hopefully they will be bringing it back soon. I talked to their national director maybe in a year or two. I don't know what happened, but hopefully they'll bring it back. I volunteered with them for 2 years, but they actively help children that are currently in foster care. And foster care is near and dear to my heart because, well, this is kind of funny. You guys are going to look at me crazy. This is very Southern, but I have an uncle brother and an aunt sister. And what that means is my dad ended up adopting his 2 youngest siblings. He did not know they existed until he went to his father's funeral. And a caseworker walked up and said, "Hey, do you want to meet your siblings?" And he said, "Oh, who are you? I know my siblings." And he points at these teenagers in the back. Oh. And that's how my dad learned that his father had other children. So he ended up adopting them. And I saw firsthand what growing up without parents looks like, going through the foster care system, some of the ways that maybe it impacted their development. They're great now. They're doing wonderful now. But it always left a space in my heart that needed to be filled, and that's one way I participate is through the Houston Angels. So the one of the chairmen there owns this venue that we're renting out. So it's sort of like a double whammy. We're kind of, I'm putting my feet where I can and trying to help everybody that does good for others.
Oh, that is great. That is really great. Go back to Mother. How old was she when she was first diagnosed?
Oh, you're going to make me do math. I was a senior in high school. Oh, I should have a calculator.
It's okay. I was thinking,
I want to say she was about 35 or 36.
I was wondering if she was young.
She was quite young.
Yeah, and you've started your surveillance, right?
I have, yeah,
Good,
2 years ago.
Yeah. I want to make sure on that.
Got to get your
worry
mammograms.
About it, or?
No, I think I accepted the reality that it's most likely in my future. And so, what can you do? Eat healthy, live clean,
do your mammograms,
do good,
right.
do your mammograms. Yeah.
Right.
I think breast cancer aid has come a long way. I think it's come significantly further than what my grandmother experienced with treatment. Yes. My mother's now survived it twice. So I have a lot of optimism for my future, but also a lot of reality. There's whatever's
Nothing
in God's plan, right? That's sort of what I go back to.
So now let's go to the business you.
Sure,
because
okay.
That's kind of amazing too.
Okay.
Tell me exactly what it is you do.
So I'm a chief marketing officer for a financial advisory firm, Sovereign Wealth Advisors, based here in Houston. We have 3 offices all the way down to Corpus Christi, another in Sugar Land, and I think we're moving in about a year, but maybe we'll cut that. I don't know, just in case we don't. Sovereign Wealth Advisors is an organization that is basically we help other people invest their money. And we do it through an independent branch, meaning we don't work with a large bank that has quotas to make on how investments are operated. We're client-focused first. So it's a lot more free in the way that we help our clients. I'm not sure if you know, but a lot of financial advisors are tasked with meeting a certain allotment of people they need for one product type. Oh. So you're not getting the best thing for you, but you're, getting the best thing for that company. That's the opposite with us. We are client focused first. But what I do there is everything marketing. So digital website, doing the Google AdWords, social media, in-person events, print, pretty much everything under the marketing scope falls under my purview.
So has marketing always been sort of your career path?
Yeah, I've been doing this for about 10 years. Yeah, 10 years in May. So I'm now at I would say the top of my game. I have the best title I could get in this field. Yeah, and that's relatively new. So I'm excited.
Oh my goodness. Well, and you do a lot of the business to business, a lot of those types of campaigns.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. How interesting. I was so surprised when I was reading that. I thought, she's way too young for all this. But
it's because I started working and going to school at a young age. So, my first job in a suit, I had just turned 19. So, yeah. So, my friend at the time said I looked like toddlers in tiaras because the suits were all a little too big.
I remember when we had to wear suits to begin with. It was a long, long time ago, but nothing ever quite fit.
No, they didn't really make a lot of women's suits.
No, they didn't. They were just copies of little men's suits.
Yeah.
So I'm so glad that we're away from that kind of thinking we have to dress like that all the time.
Well, your suit's fabulous.
Oh, thank you. But, it's always good, and I still believe this for a woman to have something that she can put on if she needs it. That jacket, that whatever, because sometimes we need to armor up. Mm-hmm. It's just life. And it gives us that little extra to be able to go out there with a little more confidence.
Yeah, I'm one of 3 women at my company.
Oh.
So, yeah.
That makes a difference, too.
It does. This is my 3rd place of employment where I am completely outnumbered by the amount of men in the space. So, yes, you can go in with the suit jacket sometimes. If you have to lead a staff meeting, I think it's important to kind of present yourself a little more firm because it's so easy as a young woman to be spoken over, right?
Right. But that's the other thing. It seems like that some of your work with the pageants has brought you around to understanding too. Mm-hmm. I mean, there's still so much that women don't realize, young women, and how we present ourselves and how that talkover is so important.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Hold on, let me finish.
Okay.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
that's what. Yeah. That's what.
Yeah. Right. That's
That's what you say,
exactly
yeah.
exactly what they do. Yes. Or some of the other ploys to that may be how you're thinking about it. Like,
Right.
is this really needed here? I've certainly seen a lot of that.
I bet you have throughout your career.
You know, the Rose has like 129 employees and 2 men now
Oh, okay.
who struggle. I know they do. But with that many women, you know, it's just a different environment. And I worked in a corporate environment where there were a lot more men. So it is different. Women approach things a little differently.
Well, there was a recent study that came out where women tend to have higher scores when it comes to leadership. And a part of that is that women work collaboratively, where men are more dominant and submissive, where they want those roles, where you're in charge and then everyone else follows. Women don't do that. We work together as a group. We can be equal without the hubris. And sometimes that makes for better leadership.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes. Send me that article.
Okay, I will.
Right,
I'll send you a few.
So tell me, what is the most important message you have today for our listeners? You have a lot of different messages.
Know.
I'm hearing messages for young women, messages for breast cancer, messages for what you can do in the community.
Yeah. I think, well, who is your audience? How many, is it local?
Some is. Actually, we were really one of the top podcasts in Japan.
Oh, that's really cool.
I know. We don't know why, but...
Yeah, you need to do some research and figure out why.
We have different countries, but we've been downloaded about 40,000 times.
Wow, that's amazing.
So, and this is our 2nd season.
Okay. So a message for local Houstonians, do support the Rose, find different ways. They have a lot of events throughout the year. One of my favorites was the Hats and Henna event. I thought the show was really inspiring. I learned a lot about different cultures there. The food's great. So, you know, that's just the one event that I've been to that they've put on, but I know they do them throughout the year. Try to support something locally and don't be afraid to speak up. I think that's my advice for sort of blanket advice for anyone everywhere. Don't be afraid to speak up for things that you believe in, things that you care about, and things that you want to see change.
That's a great message.
Thank you.
And it's one that we all need to hear more and more. We're in a time where if we don't speak up, someone else will. If we don't tell our own stories, someone else will. And it may not be the story you want told. So, great message.
Thank you.
Well, thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you for having me.
I can't wait to have you back and hear all the other things that you're going to be doing.
Are you coming to the casino night?
I don't know. I've got to get it on my calendar.
Okay, come on. Let's have fun.
Oh, me and casino? Oh.
You can speak there. I did ask for someone to come and speak.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, you've got a lot of my team that speaks a lot better than I do.
Okay.
But I know someone is going to be there.
Wonderful.
So thank you for doing that for us.
Yeah.
Absolutely. All right. Till next time.
Thank you for joining us today on Let's Talk About Your Breasts. This podcast is produced by Speak Podcasting and brought to you by The Rose. Visit therose.org to learn more about our organization. Subscribe to our podcast, share episodes with friends, and join the conversation on social media using hashtag Let's Talk About Your Breasts. We welcome your feedback and suggestions. Consider supporting The Rose. Your gift can make the difference to a person in need. And remember, self-care is not selfish. It's essential.